Today's topic.
VR headsets, Sony, HTC, or classic Oculus?
Which one should you buy?
Let's find out. So which one would you like to start talking about, Nathan?
Personally, I'm kind of fond of the HTC VIVE. I like it more. I mean, Oculus Rift is, it was the first one.
Yeah, I think that's why, personally, I'm going to stick with the Oculus, in my opinion, out of Oculus, Vive, and PlayStation Virtual Reality. It's just, the Vive is a little expensive for my taste. It's just under $800, while the Oculus, is just under $600 without your touch controllers. Granted, I understand some people do want the touch controllers, but not everybody's looking for that hands-on experience. Some people just want to be able to slap on a headset and feel, like they're a part of a different world without actually having to pay like they're going to enter a different world,
Yeah, I agree with that. The Oculus is probably the better choice for money-wise. I like the HTC Vive. I'm just going to start calling it Vive. It just seems a little more, I can't really think of the word. I guess professional? I mean, you have a lot of
I do understand.
different things.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from there. The Vive definitely has a better all-around view to it. It feels more, sturdy, I'm assuming. Just, none of these products have been released yet, but by the pictures, you can tell a lot, The Oculus has always been one to try and go with cheaper materials to make a better product, but that's not always the best way. And as well as HTC Vive teaming up with Steam, that's a big deal right in itself,
Yeah, that's one thing that gets my vote for the Vive, because I'm a huge fan of Steam. I love it. I love the Valve Corporation, and I think that's why I'm more attracted to the Vive. So, what are you most looking forward to?
Between the three products, I haven't really mentioned much about the PlayStation VR, and honestly, I think most people that are looking to get into VR really want that open feel. But for the price of the PlayStation, just underneath $500 at 1920 by 1080p resolution, and it has the highest field of view out of all three of our products, I think personally I wouldn't mind having a PlayStation Virtual Reality just to have laying around for whenever I go on a PS4.
I can agree with that. That's a PlayStation, console VR headset is really cool. I think that's a wonderful idea. And if I ever am able to get my hands on one, I'll probably play the heck out of it. But for PC, which one are you leaning toward?
Well, you know me. I've always been a PC guy. I've grown up building my own PCs. I know you're starting to get into that as well. Honestly, between the Oculus or the Vive, which one I would rather have, it's a tough decision. It really is. Because, the Vive and the Oculus both run at 2160 by 1200p resolution, and both have an outstanding 110 degrees field of view, which is significantly less. Just that 10 degrees makes a huge difference in the PlayStation, but being that it's able to be, PC compatible, it's still a pretty decent number. Oculus I like because they were the games, they started everything. They were the first company to actually dig deep into virtual reality, and it is cheaper, like we talked about earlier, if you don't want the controllers. But the Vive, I'm honestly thinking, with those 32 sensors that it has built in, with 360 degrees constant tracking, that's really starting to gain my appreciation.
And 2 base stations to overall track your movement even further for even more of a 360 degree.
Right, tell me a little bit about that. Do you have any information?
I found a little bit of information, but basically what I could find is that it just basically tracks you. I don't think the Oculus has anything like that, at least that I've seen.
The Oculus is more of a sit-down virtual reality, whereas the Vibe is the motion sensors you put around your room. You can get up, walk around, you have those hand controllers. It'll actually make you feel like you're in a different world. And at the same time, Nathan, that kind of brings up a question of mine. Doesn't that sound a little scary? Like, you have to understand that being able to move around the environment is going to make it to where games are very, you're probably going to have about
immersive.
10 to 15 feet that you can walk around. That's not going to be that very much at the most, unless you're set up,
Yeah.
you got a big living room that's open space. It's not going to be a very intuitive games that, I mean, maybe they'll surprise us. Who knows?
For the motion tracking, I believe I researched where the Oculus is only 5 by 11 feet that it tracks you, while the Vive is coming in at 15 by 15 feet, along, like we said before, with the 360-degree movement tracking. So I think that will be a game changer for virtual reality
It is
headsets.
significantly more. I agree on that. But, again, then you have to understand that it's the games themselves are going to be very confined. Like I've seen a couple of previews for games for the Vive via Steam, and like Office Work Simulator and stuff like that. They have, it looks like a fun little game, but you're spending, let's just say the Vive hypothetically for $800 to be able to move around in a 10-foot space. So I don't think virtual reality is quite where we want it today. But for the three products, I think we're heading in the right direction.
And since the the Oculus is more of kind of a sit-down virtuality, I think the 5 by 11 feet is perfect for it because you're not going to be doing a lot of moving around or turning. You're just going to be stationed there.
And let's be honest, a lot of YouTubers have used the Oculus in the past, and it seems like a decent product.
And I think there's more games and support for the Oculus because the Vive is still kind of new. I've seen some people play with it, and it seems interesting. I like it so far.
Now keep in mind, all three of these products haven't been officially released yet as of this video. These are just specs that could change later on that we have currently while they're in the development stages. A couple of people have been lucky enough to get their hands on a few of these, and they can tell you a little bit more about the in-depth experience with them, but judging by strictly the specs of each one of these, the price, the resolutions, the field of views, these are our thoughts, because, nobody wants to go out and spend $800 plus tax for something that, you could just pick up somewhere else for $500 or $600, or maybe used for $400 down the road, who knows?
And the Oculus, as it is right now, it is $600. That is without the controllers. I don't remember if we stated that before or not, but
it isn't the Oculus stating that with their new hand motion controllers that they're working on, it's going to be just as expensive or even more so expensive as the Vive headset?
I don't think that's been confirmed yet, but I did see or read somewhere where they said the controllers don't come with the headsets, so with the controllers that you buy separately, it could be just as expensive. I mean, no price has been really confirmed yet, so, I mean, we can only hope.
Right. I'm just going to do a quick recap here. I'm flipping through my notes. For those of you listening, the Oculus is running at a beautiful, the Oculus and the HTC Vive both run at a beautiful 2160 by 1200p resolution, with both equal 110 degrees field of view. Keep in mind, the Vive has a constant 360 degrees constant tracking, but that's not your field of view, obviously. While the PlayStation VR, which we haven't really touched much on, it's more just for those who, are more of console gamers. I know a lot of people have been leaning towards the PlayStation 4 than the Xbox One. Don't get me wrong, I have both consoles and a PC built for gaming. I love all consoles. I'm multi-platform. But if someone wanted to play, some really good games on the PlayStation 4, and they wanted to just kind of test out the virtual reality, see if it's for them, I would recommend the PlayStation Virtual Reality. It comes in at 1920 by 1080p resolution, which is significantly less than the other two, but for the price, you really can't go wrong.
And there's one thing I gotta think about. For the PlayStation Virtual Reality headset, what about PlayStation Network? I mean, how's that going to work with multiplayer? Are you going to be able to interact with other players?
I believe they're working on a platform that's going to be separate from the actual PlayStation Network, where you have people that you can play with virtual reality games. I don't know what they're calling it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is through PlayStation Network, but I know it's going to be its own section for virtual reality gaming.
That would be, like, a really amazing thing to see in the future. Like, long distance communication, talking to people through virtual reality. I mean, I know that's way in the future because they're just making them now.
Right.
But
And another
that
thing
just
you have to
sounds
think
amazing.
of on the same topic is in the future, say you spend $500 for the PlayStation virtual reality. What if, with all these modders today, what if someone makes drivers for the PC so you can use the PlayStation virtual reality helmet?
That would be really cool. I mean, can you imagine playing a racing game with virtual reality? That would be really, really cool, as if you're in the actual game.
Oh, of course. I remember being a kid and, trying the very, very, very expensive virtual reality headsets that they had back in the 90s, and it was, just not the dream what you would expect. And, I mean, for a lot of us, this is like a dream come true for our video game enthusiasts. That's why the market is just skyrocketing in these virtual reality headsets. I've already bought a couple of cheaper ones myself, and I can tell you, folks, it's not going to be anywhere close to what the Vive or the Oculus, and I'm sure even the PlayStation virtual reality is going to be a lot better, especially with those price tags. They wouldn't make things so expensive if they didn't have the hardware to back it up.
And we've seen something crazy already. Well, I have personally, is a guy playing Skyrim, and he has a virtual reality headset and like some Wii controllers or something, and he's hooked to a platform where he's running, and it's like completely virtual reality, and that was just crazy. I'm sure a lot of the viewers have seen the same thing.
Oh, of course, everybody's trying to get that full virtual reality experience. And just quickly, that's what I was trying to mention before, is even though, yes, they're $600 to $800 for virtual reality, you only get, what did you say, 10 by 15 feet of tracking? Was that?
For the Oculus Rift is 5 by 11, and the Vive is 15 by 15.
So, I mean, you don't really have that much room to walk around, I mean, I think they're going in a great direction. I really do. And until I can get my hands on one, I can't speak personally. But just imagine you put on a headset and you start playing a game and you walk around and all of a sudden, you can't walk anymore because you just moved 5 feet, and then you think
you hit a wall.
Exactly. You're like, wow, I only moved 5 feet. It's not very immersive. You can't go anywhere. So, you got to think of what kind of games are going to be coming out for this hardware as well. If you can only move 5 feet, it's not going to be games where you're going to be doing much exploring, where you can, move around and find stuff, adventure games. Racing games, yes, but then you have to go back to understanding that you can play a racing game sitting down. So why would you need all the motion tracking? My personal opinion.
That's true. I think the motion tracking is mainly just so there's not a whole lot of glitching in the game. That way your arm isn't flailing around everywhere. I think it just keeps track of you better, and just so you're not, just going all over the place in the game with glitches.
I understand that too, but the way that they're advertising it, you have to understand, or people think that they're just going to be able to stand up, put these sensors around their room and walk around the room and do stuff virtual reality that way, and they have to understand that that's not what these machines are going to be for. I honestly, if I were spending $800 on a virtual reality headset, I would want to know exactly what I'm getting myself into, and that's why a lot of these people, such as our viewers, come to YouTube so they understand more what they're looking for. And I hope that at least we helped some people today, explaining just the three top-of-the-line, PlayStation, HTC, and Oculus. I think they're all great platforms. They all have their each own thing to offer, especially between the Oculus and the HTC VIVE. They're great products. They've been around. They've been, expanded. They've had great teams working on them, and I'm just excited to see what they have in the future for them.
Me too, and one thing we should all keep in mind is that as soon as we buy these headsets, we need to remember technology becomes outdated very fast, and before you know it, they're going to have, like, the HTC VIVE 2.0 or whatever, something newer, something better. I mean, the Oculus Rift has already done that. They had the beta thing for a good while now. Now they're trying to introduce this new whole Oculus Rift headset.
They're completely different, I understand. And that's the thing you have to understand is that with the Oculus and the Vive, the biggest two differences are going to be hardware. We didn't touch on that much, but I'm going to tell you right now that the Vive needs at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. Was that correct?
No,
What
it's
was the deal?
4 gigabytes of RAM, and Oculus is... Yeah.
Okay, so the Vive requires 4 gigabytes of RAM. I'm sorry, and the Oculus requires 8 gigabytes and a very beefy graphics card just to be able to use it. Now, I know a lot of you with your new PCs, a lot of us have at least 4 gigabytes, so the Vive shouldn't be an issue, but if you're thinking more towards the Oculus without the touch controllers for $600, you know, that medium price range, I would go to their website. They actually have a little thing at the bottom where it says make sure your computer is compatible. And I would make sure, you know, before you spend that $600 that this is something that you're going to be able to run and use properly.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than buying something you're really excited for and realize, well, you can't play it.
That would be terrible. I couldn't imagine. All right, guys, so I hope we helped you out a little bit today. Thank you for joining our channel. And, you know, next time we might be doing some live streams. We might have, you know, some webcams up and running here shortly. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay in the background of us probably raging very badly on the show. You know, if you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe, thumbs it up. Just we're here to help you guys. You know, we're here for entertainment. And, you know, the big question is, should you buy it?
You tell us.
Let us know in the comments.